After the success of Street Fighter II and Mortal Kombat in the early 1990s, it's only natural others wanted in on the fun in both arcades and on consoles. Today, we're looking at one of the franchises most suited to take a slice of the bread-hauling pizza pie, so let's open up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters. Much like other games saw released in the generation, there are ports on all available consoles at the time, each with their own unique rosters and gameplay aspects. We're going to look at all of them, and I'm even making sure to cover the Japanese releases as well. Both 16-bit ports were released on September 4th, 1993. The Super Nintendo version is the one I'm most familiar with, so we'll start with that one. The cover labeling proclaims no Street Fighter or has seen fighting with fighters like this. However, this game, unlike others that challenge Capcom's landmark title, has plenty to back up its boasting. Each version has all four Turtles as playable characters, with unique opponents from the comics, cartoon, and toy line to cross fists with. Let's go through the roster of the SNES version real quick. We have the Sharkman Armagon, recurring enemy Wingnut, the Bat, and the Kunoichi Asuka, a character unique to this version. Of course, there's a Shredder as a boss, along with the robotic double Chrome Dome and the Cyber Shredder variant. Other fighters include the Alien Mutant War, the Villainous Rat King, and Karai, her adopted daughter, right-hand woman, and the eventual successor. Like any good fighting game I played, the controls are simple enough to pick up and play, but tough to truly master. I even like finding differences in sound cues, visual presentation, and power scaling in the Super Famicom version known as Mutant Warriors. I made sure to clear both story and tournament mode in each version. My mains are Raphael, my favorite, and Donatello. Both have unique combos and stats, and I like the effort put in to make sure each turtle doesn't play like the same one different mask. Now, on to the Sega Genesis port. The presentation is completely different from the SNES port, as is the gameplay balance. Multi-platform ports of Street Fighter II Mortal Kombat often distinct differences at the time. This game is the idea of taking the logical extreme. Apart from the Turtles, the bulk of the roster and story are completely different. Even Karai looks and fights differently in this port. Other characters include recurring allies April O'Neil and Casey Jones, and a whole slew of other fighters. Have the alien scarab Sisyphus, no relation to the Greek mythology figure, and the OP fish Ray Fillet, Post Malone voice not included. Boss characters in this version are Krang, Triceratops Commander, and the aforementioned Karai. The controls are a bit trickier than on SNES, especially if you play on the standard controller rather than the 6-button fight pad, but they can be learned. Each character has fast attacks, fierce attacks, taunts, and an array of combos. This is a version where you have to beat the game on the highest difficulty to get the real ending. Fortunately, it can be learned, and scaling is basically like in Street Fighter, with 3 and below being easy, 4 through 6 being normal, and 7 above being hard. There's a reason why Fillet is my main, win on toughest difficulty, and Splinter is saved. Last, but definitely not least, is the Nintendo Entertainment System version. This was among the last retail releases for the NES in February 1994, tends to go for high prices online, even without the box manual. That's why I'm glad all 3 are in the Color collection. Though obviously not as showy as the 16-bit ports, this actually does a lot to make a 1 vs 1 fighting game work on an 8-bit platform. Even though the Turtles don't use their weapons in this port, they still have enough skill as ninjas to make unarmed combat challenging and fun. Only 3 other fighters in this version do limitations: Casey Jones, Shredder, and Hothead. That last one is another alumnus from a toy line, and actually ended up being so unbalanced in the original release that it will crash the game if they had a mirror match. Final boss is the Shredder, of course. And I kind of like how this game combines elements from the cartoon, the first couple of movies, and the graphic novels. He's naturally the toughest in any difficulty, and beating him means saving Splinter, was dropping power-ups throughout the game. All 3 of these games are entertaining brawlers, all for very different reasons. Though I haven't found sales data on them, it's safe to say the 16-bit ports sold well, as fighting games were very much in demand after Street Fighter II and Mortal Kombat became hits. and the franchise is well suited to the genre. They've had other fighters of their own and made prominent appearances in other fighting games since, but these are all games I have in frequent rotation in my collection. With this, I can check them off the list. I also intend to review the handheld titles in the Color Moon collection, that will take time to complete them. That's all for now. Take care, dudes.